excited about this next guest because I remember the first time I saw Mom Margaret Arnolds, it was at Kofifi FM. And you were campaigning there and you were so fiery. I think it was the 2014 elections or 2016 elections. Oh, 2016. And I just saw the fire in Mom Margaret. And today here we are sitting together. You've done so much. And good afternoon and welcome to the Free Ride Podcast. Ma, are you well?
I'm very well. Good afternoon to you. And it's a free ride, so I'm riding for free.
Yes. Did you enjoy the ride?
Yes, I enjoy the ride.
It's an old school classic. You were there when this car was made.
It's one of those that was in my time.
In my time.
Yeah, in my time. If you know that song, In My Time.
And you dress specifically for it. You dress the part. No? But you always dress nice, man. You always do. How do you pick your sense of style? Because you stand out. Like every time I see you, I'm like, hey, but lo mama, yo.
It's basically when I enter, I don't have a specific shop that I buy from. But it's like when I enter, the outfit needs to talk to me.
Yes.
It needs to say to me, take me, wear me.
Yeah.
And that is how I buy. I don't buy very expensive. I buy what suits my pocket, but I also buy what looks good on me. And I don't really buy what everybody else has. I always try to be different.
You do.
And maybe that is the issue. But I'm very into traditional African way.
Yes.
That's the most specific one. Incidentally, it was when I went to the State of the City address. I was wearing a very normal black skirt with a black lacy top with a white bottom. And councillors actually came to me and said, no.
It's not you.
Mom Margaret, that's not you.
Yeah.
You need to dress African. And I was forced to go and find something the next day.
Wow.
So that I could present myself in an African way. And that's just...
It works for you.
It works for me.
Sure. Mom Margaret, let's start with who Margaret Arnolds is. Just to tell us about where you grew up, where you were born. We're in Eldos now, but yeah. Were you born in Eldos?
No.
Okay.
I'm the eldest of 5 children.
Okay.
We are 4 girls and 1 boy. And my brother passed away last year. May his soul rest in peace.
Yeah, indeed.
I am a mother of 3 kids. The one passed away last year, my only daughter.
Condolences.
I'm a grandmother of 7.
Ha!
And a great-grandmother of 2 beautiful girls.
Oh, my word!
I think that has revealed my age.
Wow.
I was born in Albertville. Not far from Sophia Town.
Oh.
If you go over the Kopi,
yes,
then you find Albertville. I was born there. When the Sharpeville incident took place on the 28th of June 1960, I'm a teacher by profession. I am a politician. I started very early in my years.
Activism.
I started when I was 15 years old.
As an activist?
Yes. My parents was very much National Party.
Really?
Yeah. We read the rapport and the Beeld. We listened to Springbok Radio and to Radio Sonnegrense.
Oh my God!
I was the only one that spoke English in the house because I grew up with my grandparents. But Afrikaans was the order of the day in the house. And I always wanted to know, why could I not speak or play with the child that was darker skinned than me? Why were they called a specific name? Why could I not bring a boyfriend home that was dark, that had what they call cruce? I had to look for the light of complexion ones, the green eyes, the straight hair, and that was not in my league. When I took my husband, my dad was very upset And my mom was so upset because he was so black. He was a pitch black. And my mom actually said to me, "Shame, my child, you'll have to buy white sheets so that you can see him on the bed." That is how racist my parents were.
Oh my word!
So in the year 1995, when Mangosuthu Buthelezi came to the amphitheater in Soweto, I was very eager to go there. I went there and I loved his 34-page speech. And that said to me, join the IFP. That's why I joined the IFP, moved up in the ranks, became a member of the NEC in the IFP, where there was very little colored people. It was just predominantly Zulu people at the time. But I loved him, and I saw that was democracy. But then I realized that there was no space for me as a woman, two, as a woman, as a colored woman, supposed to be colored.
Among
there
black.
There was no space for me there because we all know Zulus are stubborn.
They're chauvinistic in
yes,
nature. Yeah.
Yes. And I had to move out there. And I then stayed home and joined NADECO that came from the IFP, but later on joined the AIC when the AIC came to birth.
I remember when you were at the AIC when I met you that time.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. So it's been a long political
I had
journey.
a long political journey, but always wanted to know what's happening next door, or why is it that one doesn't have what I have. And that was just how I started becoming an activist, because I always believed that everybody should be treated equally. Why is the little girl next door unable to have school shoes when I have school shoes and lunch and everything? And that actually took me into politics. 1976, we were part of the uprising. I was at Eldorado Park High School. I was in Matrica that year. And we were taken out of our classes by those in Pumville and other areas, and said to us, "You are not going to sit here, you are going to go with us." So that is basically who Margaret is. I could never keep a 9-to-5 job because I would be in the job and then the politics would call and I would actually AWOL.
What?
My dad always said to me, "You could go and work for 5,000 Rand a month, but you decide to work for the 500 Rand stipend for a political party." And that was my passion. And here I am. I'm a councillor. I'm now leading the minority opposition parties. And yes, I think it was a good journey where I think my children, my grandchildren, and my great-grandchildren will say, this is the legacy of our work.
And it's so amazing because, you know, as you speak, I think about so many of you who are women who stood up during those difficult times. You know, when I think about how tough the system was back then and how resilient you and your young people at the time. And I always say to young people, you know what made difference between the generation of the June 16, 1976, going all the way up to the 80s is that all of you used to hold hands like this.
Yes.
Nobody used to let go.
No.
And then you are not afraid to get shot. And like it blows my mind. And now when I see people march, there's no holding of hands.
No,
there's no we are moving forward together.
It's like I'm there for my own purpose.
Yeah, it's like this one is bought, he's paid to go. It's like it's no longer as genuine as it used to be. So you then joined Council 2016, became the MMC for Community Development. I must admit,
Not really. I became a chairperson first.
Oh yes, you did. Yes. Was it housing? Eh?
No, for EISD. I was one of those councillors that during the time we had no coalition with the DA at the time.
Yes.
But I went and I lobbied political parties. And I said, give me the chance to become a chairperson. Oh. And I was uncontested. I was elected uncontested.
I remember, yes. I remember.
And then I became MMC afterwards.
Now, that 2016, a lot happened. How was it for you? I mean, you came in, the ANC was out of power. new leadership, Mashaba, you're a chairperson of this administration, to a guy or a person like Herman Mashaba. What was it like? I mean, was it challenging?
It was challenging, but it was also nice. I decided when the vacancy came in EISD, we made an agreement with the ANC, because remember, my party supports the ANC from national right through.
Yes.
So when we lost at the City Hall on the day, it was not only the ANC that lost, but we also lost. And it was sad because we lost comrades like Comrade Stompy and all those things that happened there. But nevertheless, when we went into opposition benches, the opportunity arose that I could become a chairperson. I then went to the late Jeff Makobu, and I said to him, Comrade Jeff, I'm a new councillor, but I'm also a councillor that loves to temper with myself. If I don't educate myself, no one is going to educate me. But I really, really want to understand and see what it is to be a chairperson. And he said to me, Maggie, that you're doing out of your own. But we as the ANC, we're not putting up a candidate. So obviously we will support you if it comes to the push. And I went to the EFF. I said to the EFF, are you going to put up a candidate? They said no, but you can go for it because we know you. I went to my own party and my party said yes. And funny enough, the DA came to me and said, we'd like to give you that position. I said, no, you can't give it to me. I'm contesting it. And obviously they didn't put up a candidate. I then became the chairperson. It was difficult because remember, I was now there like a known spy.
Okay. Yes.
So we would have our meetings, but things that they wanted to discuss that they didn't want me to know, they would discuss it on their own.
And you could see.
And I could see, like I could feel this. Yes. But I was like, okay, this doesn't worry me. I'm going to do what I'm put here to do.
This is nothing. Small waters.
Yes. I must say, I had a beautiful committee where all of them agreed, except there was one DA councillor that couldn't take it. Councillor Coogan. She couldn't take it because to her it was the DA had to put up someone, and that someone was her because she had to get that position, and she hated me. But the rest of the councillors did what they had to do, and they assisted me within the committee. So the only bad thing that really happened to me, Sipho, was sitting there on the side of the governing party, being a chairperson and not a chairperson from their ranks. And when I had to vote, my loyalty was still with the ANC. And I was then the only hand up there in council when I voted. But there was people like the now Chief Whip, Tyrell Mayers, and Christians and others that knew that I have a party mandate. But I'm also not allowing the committee not to progress.
Yes. And use party politics over the committee.
Yes, I didn't use party politics.
Yeah.
And I could sit there, and when others would say, yeah, but she's here, why is she not voting with us? I would say, you have a mandate, I have a mandate. And I voted according to my mandate. And that actually made me strong when they came to me and said, but we can make you an MMC, let the AIC vote with us. And I said, no.
Stuck to your principles.
We will only vote when there are certain things that we vote for. Like we voted for the budget because at the time we believed the budget was friendly to all of us. And we voted for their budget. And that was all. That's why if you go to Herman Mashaba's book, The Accidental Mayor, somewhere there he speaks about Margaret Arnolds and the AIC. But nothing that I would shy away from. Because I think I did what I had to do when I was there. And it also assisted me as a councillor.
And I mean, I think what you've done in the history of council, I mean, many people don't know this, that the city of Joburg is the biggest council in the whole continent, with 270 councillors. And what you had done had never been done before, by a minority party that comes in, secures a chairpersons in the governing party, and still vote with the opposition.
Exactly.
It's unbelievable. And then, but EISD, for those who don't know, it's Environment, Infrastructure, Service Delivery.
Yes.
Now, it's the biggest portfolio. I mean, if I think about it, it's your City Power, the Joburg Water, and Pick It Up.
And Pick It Up.
Yeah, those are the three big entities.
Another three main service delivery components in the city. And we could run it very well. I think we did very well as a committee. And yeah, I think, as you say, it was history that was made.
And then came 2021. Obviously, before 2021 happened, 2019 happened. The ANC won back power together with yourselves as the AIC and other parties. What was it like? I mean, because I remember the tension leading up to the vote of no confidence on Mashaba, things not working out, back and forth, the motion being pulled back, and then Mashaba standing up saying, no, yeah, it means they had no power, go ahead with the motion. But like everything was strategic. What happened in the background?
There was lots of, like even now, there was lots of discussions. There was lots of strategizing. There was lots of, how do we write the motion? Who takes the motion? How do we vote? Are we happy with it? And I must say, the leadership that we had in Comrade Jeff was a leadership that was inclusive. He wouldn't do anything without us. And even when he spoke to the budget, he would speak to all the political parties, including the opposition. And we strategized in a way, but we never spoke positions.
Okay.
We never spoke positions. We only spoke and said, guys, let us get it right to become the government. What goes after that, we will then say, this is how we cut the cake.
Yes.
And that's exactly what we did. We then went for consultations when we got the government in 2019. When Mashaba decided to walk out, we then got the government and we then said, okay, this is now how we're going to do. And I think Comrade Jeff read us very well. He knew exactly who had to go where and what who had to do. And the joke is, when I was appointed MMC for community development, I sat there and I looked at Jeff and I said, is this comrade really not seeing my potential? He's giving me ComDev. No. But I took it. And when I got into ComDev, I realized, no, you've given me something that basically takes you from the cradle to the grave, that is complex and that is part of communities. And that then said to me, okay, no, I it's good I didn't go to you and approach you and say, what are you doing? You've actually given me something that really assisted me. I'll just sneak in this, Sipo. You know, when it came to community development, our parks, our empty spaces, and all those, it really played a big role in my life because as someone that was abused, that was raped 3 times, it said to me, get a safe space for women. And that's why parks, open spaces, stadiums, it's very close to me. And the issue of how do you in community development develop a community that could understand GBV femicide is not it's not on. So yeah, that's why I then believed and then saw how you could put in GBV femicide into community development, because that's basically, as much as we say it's a social development issue, but it's also an issue to educate our community on.
You were so busy. Like, I have seen you in overalls, on machines, cutting grass, picking up rubbish, like cleaning the pools. You were like so hands-on, and I must admit that portfolio, you really put it up there. You were shining with it, and one could tell that your passion is, it's like you were oozing with so much passion. Like, I remember every time I saw you, I was like, hey, but this mama is at a happy place. Huh?
No, I had a good team also.
Yeah.
I had a good team in the department as well as in my office. I had a very good team, and a team that also wanted to shine. Except making me to shine, they all wanted to shine.
Yeah.
The department wanted to shine, and that is what we labeled stay in your lane.
Yeah.
I was in my lane. I was doing what I had to do. They were in their lanes, and they could allow me to do what I had to do, and I allowed them to do what they had to do. And we were all happy. So it was a healthy department. It was a healthy environment, and both the entities were happy.
And I mean, community development, for those who don't know, that it involves your arts and culture, your sports, libraries, your sports and rec,
your city parks and zoo.
Your city parks and zoo. Did we mention theaters? Theaters also.
Your graveyards.
Your graveyards. I mean, you were responsible for humanity, like general happiness of humans.
Your community centers.
Yes, your
multi-purpose centers, your swimming pools, everything and anything that you could think about was part of community development.
And we've just interviewed an artist earlier on, and I said, what's interesting is that, including you were responsible for people's happiness. Because when you at home, you want to go to a park, you want to go swim, you want to go play sport, and sometimes I always felt that ComDev was always underfunded.
Yeah, no, we were underfunded. I was saying to somebody earlier on, COVID happened, right? And we couldn't do what we had to do. But also, artists could not perform.
True.
People could not go and swim. You could not go into the parks. Those that renovated our multi-purpose centers, our halls, couldn't go and work. Can you imagine saying to someone that needs to go and paint the hall, work from home?
How are they going to do it?
They can't. If the guy, you tell the guys, go and fix the pool, how are they going to do it from home? But also, we were not given the funds that we wanted. There are some developments that will only happen now. And I'm hoping that when we listen to the budget tomorrow, that will happen. We couldn't even really go and bury people. We couldn't, because there was only 50 people that go to the graveyard. Grave diggers were restricted to certain days to digging the graves. And it couldn't just happen. And death doesn't ask. And during COVID, death came like it was a normal thing. So even our graveyards, we couldn't be cutting the grass. We couldn't do what we wanted. And still, we were always told that the funds must rather go to Joburg Water, or it must go to social development, or it must go for employment or things like that. IT, especially during that time. So yes, we were underfunded, but I'm hoping it will change. And my plea would be to the DA tomorrow, let that change.
At least because, we have so much social problems, and if you think about it, our kids don't have enough parks to play at. They don't have, and some of our sports grounds are not where they should be.
Yes.
And I think of Joburg, and I'm thinking this is like a New York of Africa. So equally so, some of our facilities need to be world standards.
Yes.
And have programs, because sometimes we build facilities and then they are not utilized.
But there's a good thing happening now, Sipho, and I hope that it will carry on. In Alex and in Soweto, we started those multi-purpose centers where you have the soccer field and the tennis and everything.
The combi courts.
Yes. So I'm hoping that the government of the day
Those are beautiful, by the way.
Will ensure that it happens, and still carry on partnering with those businesses that we got, because they are prepared. I can remember the last one we opened in Alex. I was pleading with the late Charlie D and said, bring it to Eldorado Park. And we planned it for Eldos. So the swimming pool that was vandalized in Eldorado Park in Extension 8, I believe the same idea that we put together last year will be done now.
Okay.
Where the whole area will be now done into a multi-purpose.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So the space is there. It's just to upgrade a few things.
It's just to upgrade a few things. We'll have a state-of-the-art swimming pool. We'll have our tennis courts. We'll have our football. We'll have everything exactly the same way that we have in Alex and in Soweto.
What would you say was like the most amazing thing or experience for you being in MMC? Because I've seen so many events you've attended, activities, like you've done so much. And also we were under COVID, so you were also restricted. And you had like these multi-purpose center that you and Comrade Jolly and Comrade Jeff were planning to open up. But which one stands out for you?
I think what stood out for me was not really, it was opening up these state-of-the-art venues. But what stood out for me was to be able to connect with residents in areas where they never had a decent park. That was, to me, to see a child running and saying, at long last there's a swing for me to swim. At long last there's a marong for me to go on.
Yeah.
That to me was giving joy to a community.
Yeah.
Having a swimming pool that was clean where people could go. But there was also the downsides where you go to a park and you pick up a child in a basket, washing basket, being killed. I can never forget picking up Ansia in a basket. Going out and picking up a child that got drowned in a manhole, drowned in Orange Farm, and you pick up the child in Sidibeng. And we were reminiscing on Sunday, myself and the old Mpo Moerani, because myself and him, when he was the mayor there, we worked on this thing where we picked up a child that was drowned in a manhole in Orange Farm, and we picked him up in Sidibeng after 4 days. But to me, the highlights were seeing a child smile, seeing a gogo say, thank you for cutting the grass here. I can now go in through this park and go and get my pension because now I'm safe. Now everybody can see me. Yes, the state-of-the-art facilities was a good one. But also during COVID, seeing the smile on some of the artists that we went out of our way to give a food parcel to. And that to me gave me joy. It was not really being the MMC, but to advance the work that I love. And I could do it even better. And I can go back there anytime.
Now, for Joburg, we've got like talented artists, sports people. When I always used to think about ComDev, I used to think, why is the country not investing more in arts and in sports? Because these are the two people that bring joy. When people watch soccer or watch rugby or watch cricket, there's so much joy. I remember even with the World Cup, like people were happy. Then there's music, people are happy. But why is it that artists will die paupers? It's I could never understand.
Remember, we, as a local government, we don't have our own funds to deal with these people.
Okay.
The funds come from national and provinces, and we have to depend on the funding that we get from there. We have the little bit that we can do in the theatre and things like that. But the funding, if they can bring the funding to us, we can then do that. And yes, you're very right. I always said I do not understand how Brenda Fassie died a pauper. How, what is her name?
Mahlatini.
This lady that's now, she's
Deborah
still alive.
Fraser.
Yes, and the one that's alive, the young one that's alive, she's in the news currently. She was very
popular back in the day.
Yeah, she was popular now.
Is it not Messi Pakela?
No, this.
Okay.
She's from the Eastern Cape.
Oh, Zahara. Oh,
Zahara
God,
came
story.
and she has fallen. And why is it that happens to them? You know, whereas Sarah should have been she should have been great by now. And you look at our soccer stars, and they also died in that way with having that. I mean, Lebu was one of the young up and coming singers when I was still young, when Boom Shaka came.
Yes.
And you'd have thought, by this age that we are now, Lebu would have been. But I also blame those managers that they have. If you look at the drugs and the other things, but the funding comes from national and province, and they don't give us enough to look after our artists.
Because I always thought, we are too invested as South Africa. We're too invested in infrastructure, that we don't build people. Then we get surprised that we've built infrastructure and people break the infrastructure.
And that's another thing, because you look at who broke the pool in El Dorado Park. It's not Sipho from Alex or whoever from wherever. It's our own people.
It's our own people.
But then we also buy what they take from the. There's someone in Extension 7 that has built a house with the bricks from the pool. So imagine I'm coming and I'm breaking the pool and I'm taking all the bricks and I sell it to Sipho, and Sipho builds his house, and Sipho says, no, I need 500 more, and I go and I still do that. We break our own. Even the copper, the cable. Yes, there are other people, but we also do it.
And I mean, here in Eldos, I know a few weeks ago, you guys went through a power problem. The power station went off, vandalism.
Friday, yes.
Why are we so destructive?
To our own things.
To our own things.
And then we would say, wow, look at Soweto. They have everything. And we have nothing. But if we take introspection, it's our own children. It's us. Yes, we have this issue of what they say, these guys that are living in Lapland, that's doing that. Yes, they are. But then also our own does it. Our own, they do it. I know, and councillors can tell you, the previous councillors, Councillor Rafferty and Councillor Jaffa can tell you, we've been running around with guys stealing the paving.
Paving?
The paving. Serious. And you go and you have a case made against them. The police station says, but where is it written, City of Johannesburg? We got a guy now recently when we were busy with this cable theft, when we were patrolling. The guy had, you won't believe it, the guy had a nail clipper. You know, the edge of the nail clipper? He was sitting and cutting out the paving. At 2 o'clock in the morning. Cuts out the paving. He says, I'm looking for my 1 rand that fell in there. But when we lifted up, the paving was loose. So he goes right through and takes off the paving.
With a nail clipper?
Yes, with a nail clipper.
What?
We found the other one with the, what do you call the screwdriver? The one that's in the front, like around.
Oh, it's like a star screwdriver.
Yes, like with a star screwdriver. And they take out the paving. And we buy that paving from them.
Yeah.
We buy it. Because I will tell you, I've got so much, or I'll take you to my house and say, this is the amount of paving that I need.
Ma, when I listen to you, I hear somebody who loves serving, who is committed to this country, and then you've got people who have a negative perception about councillors, and say negative things about politicians, painting you with all the same brush. Now, I know you, and I've seen you through the years, how you've just, came into council. I mean, I just sit there and watch, and I just smile and I laugh, and I'm like, so you are absolutely committed to this thing. It's not like somebody who just wants to be a councillor just because of a role, because of a position and status and so on. How do you feel when people say such negative things about councillors?
Well, I think I should be feeling the worst because there's a lot of negative things said about myself.
Yeah.
But I also think that I believe that if you are praised by everybody, then there's something wrong.
Okay.
You can't be Mother Mary or Sister Teresa to everybody.
Yeah.
You human. But also as a leader, you also need to know how to handle it. If I go on every Facebook thing that is said about me, I think I wouldn't have survived.
You would have lost your mind.
Yes. I mean, recently there was this issue that the chairperson of COMDEV said, and she warned the MMC of COMDEV that it should not be caught like you should not allow the officials to not let him spend his budget. And it was said there was 140 million that was not spent, which is true. But if people were looking at the quarter under review, it was when there was COVID. So we couldn't spend that money. We couldn't do anything with the money. But the money is not in Margaret's pocket.
It's still there.
It's still there. And it could be spent now. So that money was not in Margaret's pocket. So if I have to answer and say, go back, look at the quarter, I didn't steal the money is still with the city, I would have had a heart attack. Rather than counting, oh, there's the park runs in Aldos. Whose idea was it? No, it was Margaret. There's now Learn to Swim. Whose idea was it? It was Margaret. So there are people that's happy and there are people that's not happy. So you can't expect everybody to be happy with councillors, but also I think education needs to be given to communities of what councillors are.
Civic education.
But yes, civic education needs to be given because we don't sit with the switch of ESCOM underneath our beds.
True.
We don't sit with a budget in your room. Nobody's given a safe and saying, this is the ward's budget, go and put it in your safe. If they need water, you're going to do that. If they need a street, you're going to pay. No, there's no budget with us, but the budget lies with the city and the city will give it to you. And if people pass the wrong budget where you are not going to benefit, then you must also be told why it's happening. Because it's an issue of political parties making up a budget when they're in government and they share the budget according to where their constituencies are.
Yeah.
You can't expect the DA to take a budget to the squatter camp or in Slovo.
It's not their constituency.
Their people are in Sandton. Their people are in Bryanston. Their people are in Randburg. And they will take it there to keep those people happy so that those people can vote for us. And when we understand that, then we will know. You know, we had a budget where we touched the areas where we are. Where we are. And that is what it is. Do you really think that the ANC has 87 councillors and the DA is going to give to the 87 ward councillors a bigger chunk than what they're going to give to the 40-some odd of the DA? No.
It's not going to work like that.
But we should come to a point where we look after everybody because everybody votes for us somewhere. But I think civic education is needed for people to understand what the roles and responsibilities of a councillor is. And we don't have a magic wand to just fix everything.
Absolutely.
That we don't have.
I mean, I want to touch on that civic education. I know with the former Speaker of Council, Councillor Mulwele, we tried to do a few of these civic education programs during COVID. I mean, they were consistent on a weekly basis, but it really needed more in communities, on the grounds where people don't have access to internet. And maybe, we tried with the radio stations, but it has to be consistent as well.
Yeah, I think that the Speaker of Council now needs to take up that and say, this was good that this government did, and let us educate people. But he's not even doing that to councillors. I mean, councillors has come in, there's been no education for councillors. I think even him, after 27 years, needs to be educated. Because, I mean, he flouted the legislature on Sunday. On Sunday, he flouted the rules of the legislature. I mean,
on a
the civic funeral.
Yes.
And he has the nerve to send to me a message and says, I must go for protocol training. What? How do you allow a mayor to speak to a coffin that's not draped in anything? Oh. How do you allow a mayor to speak when there is, we haven't declared the funeral a civic funeral?
Yes.
How do you allow a president to speak and you come afterwards and you do a declaration? How do you declare?
No, you can't do that.
How do you declare and say it is a civic funeral now when we are all walking out of the door?
Yes.
So
I couldn't understand what happened there. I seriously could not understand it.
The speaker needs to take up that and have us all educated. Us as councillors, as well as our constituencies and the people out there of the city, and make it a serious matter of giving civic education. We can't educate people if we're not educated.
True.
If we don't know the rules of council ourselves, and we don't know how to deal with the rules of council.
And it's been, the rules on its own has been a debate for long, but there hasn't been workshops on the rules, and nearly 70 to 80% of the councillors in council are new.
And we still come the way we went to council. We still dress, we still come with techies, we still come with a tracksuit jacket. We are not formal. I mean, what is this? Our red guys still come with their overalls, and we say that we need to be dressed formal as councillors. We suspended the rules in 2016. We are still there, and no one is talking about it.
I wanted to ask you about the 3 mayors that you've worked under. I mean, it must have been extremely, unbelievable for you in less than a year to have worked with 3 mayors who have passed on. It's unbelievable.
I think when the mayor chief died, it really hit us. And I could not believe how could he die of COVID. Because he was really, that man really followed the rules of COVID. But we also don't know when it is our time.
True.
And there was a silly joke that I made to him. When I had COVID in December, we had gone to the golf. He had sent me to the golf, and I tested positive. And I didn't know that I was positive on the Friday night. And we went to some Indian event, myself and him and his wife and other people. And the next morning, they called me to say, Councillor Arnolds, you're positive. And I was like, hey, guys, I was with people last night. And I called and I said, Ian, please go and get yourself tested. Go to the golf course. They're testing there, and you get your results. Within 12 hours, I got mine. And he said, oh, my Lord, let me rush. And he rushed and he tested. And his results came out, and he said to me, I'm negative.
Yeah.
It was myself and Jolly D that was then positive.
Yes.
And June 16, we were together.
Yeah.
In Soweto.
I was with you guys. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we were very close that day as well, because we were standing together. I was the MC of the event.
I remember, yeah.
And he called me.
Yeah.
He used to call me Maggie. He said, Maggie, go and test yourself. I said, why? He says, hey, I've got COVID. I said, I'm not going to test.
Wait, he had COVID on June 16?
He tested positive after June 16.
Yes, oh yes, I remember, yeah. Because after that June 16 event, he went to Santa.
Yes, and he tested positive after June 16.
Yes.
And the last I was with him was on June 16. I can't just remember which day he tested. But then he called me and said, you must go and test. And I said to him, I'm not going to test. When you didn't want to take my COVID, I'm not taking your COVID.
Yeah.
But I went to test and I came out negative. And just to hear that, you know, he came out, he went in again and he died, that was heavy.
It was heartbreaking. Heartbreaking.
As much as I said in the beginning, I didn't have the confidence when he put me into ComDev. I then also, when he sent out a memo, just at the end of December, he sent out a memo and said, Councillor MMC Arnolds, you need to act as mayor.
Oh yes.
I was like, no. I was sweating. I was really sweating that. I said, no. What is he doing?
Why
is he putting me up for failure? No. Jeff has something against me. I'm going to fail. And everybody said, calm down. Sit down, MMC. Calm down. I sat down. Called Justice. I said, Justice, what are you guys doing in that office? Justice says, no. The mayor said so, and there's nothing that we can do. So I'm now MMC just for about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm still settling into my MMC position. And then after an hour comes another letter. And I'm saying, hey, please, can this be the cancellation letter? There comes another letter. And the letter says, the Ethiopian Prime Minister is coming to South Africa. Can you please host them? No. I'm in tears.
Just.
I can't believe that.
A prime minister.
A prime minister coming. And I'm like, no, I can't. And I call back again. And I'm saying, Justice, seriously.
What are you doing?
You guys are going to your conference, to your January 8th. And I must now do this. No. Please, can't one of your MMCs stay? And Jeff said, no. I went there. I said, well, Margaret, you must now take out and show.
Yeah.
I was mayor and I prayed. Lord, I prayed. I said, nothing must happen in the city. Nothing. No disaster. No nothing. Please, let it be no
your
disaster.
time.
Nothing. And God answered me.
What?
I went to the Ethiopians. I hosted them. Then came the mayor of George. I hosted them all in one night. I hosted them, and then what Jeff did afterwards, like whenever he doesn't want something, he'd say, "Who's gonna act?" And they say, "No, Margaret can act." I think I acted for about 5 times. To a point where it almost seemed to the ANC colleagues, he's like pulling me. And he gave them all a chance, because even Jolly said one day to me, you were the first acting mayor. You were the first one. Well, COVID stopped me from going overseas. You were the first one to be going overseas. You were the first one to host prime ministers.
Yes.
I'm like, Comrade Jolly, please just stop it.
Yeah.
But we had a very good relationship.
Wow.
You always said to me, just be normal and do what you have to do. And you would call me in if you thought that I had done something that was not right. And I would then say to him, okay, guide me on to what to do. And if I thought I couldn't cope, I would go to him and say, Ian, how do I do this?
His door was always open.
And when Charlie D became the mayor, he actually called me and said, don't be nervous. Because everybody was now nervous. He was going to juggle. He called me and said, are you not nervous? I said, no. He says, yeah, don't
done
be
this
nervous.
before.
He says, don't be nervous. You will be coming back. And I was like, okay, thank you. And we then also got this bond where we became quite not friends, but we had a good working relationship. Because he also had this that I could speak to him, even if he wanted to do changes in my departments, even when we went to deal with the boards and all that, we could discuss and we could understand each other. Mpho, yo, this one is bad.
Mpho was like a darling to you, like
this one is bad. I met Mpho through Paul Mashatile. I occupied the position of the Treasurer General of my party. And I then went to Paul to mentor me as a treasurer. Because I didn't have contacts, I didn't have people that I could fundraise from. And I went to Paul, and Paul introduced me to Mpho and said, this is your go-to man if you want to organize events, if you want to do fundraisers, this is your go-to man.
Because he was connected.
Yes. Yeah. He was working in Paul's office at
For
the time.
sure,
He was
yeah.
the advisor. So we became friends there. And it then became like we knew each other. The day when Mpho walked in to the minority caucus during Jeff's time, when he became MMC, everybody was like, and then what's going on between the two of you? How do you know each other? Because nobody knows this man.
Yeah, like, who is he?
I was like, no, this is my friend. Jeff was also like, shocked. I said, no, this is my friend. And Mpho was like, Margaret is mine.
Yeah.
And that.
Yeah, so that smile of his,
yes,
and those dimples of his charming looks.
He was there for me when I needed someone to talk to mentor me, as young as he was, to mentor me in being a treasurer, how I could, speak to business people. And I thank God for that. But also, during my time now, when I went through the death of my daughter, he was there. We could talk, not only a material, but he was there for me to talk to. I could vent. I could pick up the phone when I was going through all this, and I'd say, Mpho, I can't take it, I can't sleep.
And he would listen. And
he'd say, I'm not sleeping either. I know there was one night when we were crunching numbers for the caucus, and he'd said to me, I'm leaving the bedroom now, I'm going to sit in the lounge. I've just got some coffee. I said, okay, I'm also moving, because my great-granddaughter stays with me. I said, she's sleeping. I'm also moving to the lounge. And we started crunching the numbers. It was like we were in the same space.
Wow.
And we were crunching numbers. And he said, man, if we don't win tomorrow, let's just have patience. We've done this, we've done that, we've done that. Don't be excited. Don't run to this one. Don't show them we are desperate. We're not desperate. We'll sit in the opposition. It will give you time to be more active. And that is where the activeness in council came out now. Also because of Mpho that said, now you can raise your issues, sharply. And
that's what you've been doing.
That is what I've learned from him, as young as he is. And we just simply had that bond. We were not on top of each other every day, but I knew, and he knew that if he wanted to ask me something and we need to talk to about it, he did, I did, and I think I'm broken. It's like I've lost a son, a brother, a colleague, a mentor. So I think Mpho's death was more than I can even carry myself. But we'll make him proud.
We'll make him proud, and I'm just reflecting on some of the memories I've had with him. TG, I remember Treasure. It's so painful. It's surreal, but I guess they came into our lives for a reason. And I think, I mean, I remember how Comrade Jolly and Comrade Jeff, I mean, they mentored me in their own little ways, you know, and it's just like, it's unbelievable. But I guess we must be strong and carry on. And so what's next for you, Ma? I mean, the region is going to have its own Congress this weekend, the ANC. You know, things have to change. Things have to move. There's a budget tomorrow.
I just hope that the ANC comes out stronger at the region. I'm really, truly, and I've said this to them, I'm praying for true unity within the ANC. Some people sometimes say they think I'm ANC. I'm not. But I believe that if there's no unity with them, then we all fall apart. So there needs to be true unity. On the budget, we have not been privileged to see as councillors what this budget is all about. And this is very much annoying because I believe that we normally would sit down and say, party by party, this is the budget. What do you think? Are we reflecting where you are? Are we not? What can we do? How can we look? And, you know, especially when you want to pass a budget. But I think they're arrogant enough because they think they have the numbers and they are going to pass the budget. But we will also stand up and voice our side. It's not about them winning. Even if they do get the budget passed, it's also about the people out there making a decision and listening to what the budget is about. If the budget doesn't speak to the people in Aldos, if it doesn't speak to the people in Soweto, if it doesn't speak to the people in Orange Farm, those people are going to listen. So we'll see what the budget has tomorrow, and we will then decide what we are going to do and how we are going to deal with the budget. But for me, the way forward is building the minority opposition parties. We are called the minority opposition parties because we're not part of government.
Yes.
And we have decided this so that we could give that one-man party a voice. I think you've also seen, Sipho, that the PAC talks, whereas the PAC, where the smaller parties could not really participate as well as they do now. The PAC is talking, the AHC is talking, the APC is talking, Good is talking. And this is the reason why we came together, because now we are 10 members together, and we are saying, you represent all of us. So when Good Party stands up and say, I rise on behalf of Good and the minority oppositions, you must know we've caucused, and that is our way. When I get up there as the chairperson of the minority opposition, I get up there because we have caucused, and I have a mandate from all of them. So that is what we thought would be, so that everybody has a voice. In the past, everybody didn't have a voice. So now all of us have a voice in there. And I think we are frustrating them. We are irritating them. We work on their nerves. And I don't know, they don't know how to shut us. But we are, and we are also active with all issues of council, like the 130.
Yes.
We active, like the Sabia case. We active. We are the people that really brought the Sabia case to the fore.
Is he fired?
Well, we believe that he's regained everything, but we also know that the public protector has made a case against him.
Oh. In the city's issues or the national issues?
In the city's issues.
Oh.
And the
really?
SSA is also making a case against him.
Yeah, but Sibia lived like a king, though.
Yes.
That guy, him and the city manager were the only officials who had like bodyguards, security. He lived like a king.
When I was MMC, I was the only MMC that drove in Sabia's car. And can I tell you something? I was so secured, ne? I could have driven that car on my own. And if people shot at me or anything, they would have done nothing to me.
What?
That car is so much bulletproof.
Sibia's car?
It is so much bulletproof.
More than
anybody else's car in the city.
not even the mayors.
Not even the mayor's is as secured as that car. I drove in that car for 2 weeks.
Ah,
I drove in that car for 2
so it's a normal looking BMW.
It's a normal looking BMW. It's HW. It's not a JD. It's an HW. But I'm telling you,
It's
you get into that car, it's armed. It's armored. That car from the front, if that car stands here, nobody can see what's happening inside that car. And the normal MMC's cars are not really tinted a lot in the front. That car is like high. You can have a party at the back. Nobody will know.
And I also heard, apart from his office, apparently that guy was like a king of Joburg.
No, he's got
wow.
He's got machines that if you pass his office, it can detect even what you have on your Bluetooth.
What?
It can take your, and that stuff is only the SSA can say yes, you can have it. Not even our government or national has that.
I don't know how you got away with it.
Got away with it with Mashaba's time.
Oh yes, yeah. Weren't they like related or married into the same family?
They were very. I'm not sure about that. But remember, if you go back into the archives of the city, you will see that some of us said to Mashaba, you need to take Sabia's job, and Sabia needs to become the mayor.
Oh yes, yeah.
Because everything that you did, you were sent to Sabia. Everything went to Jifas.
He knew everything about everyone.
Yes.
He still does.
At some time, we were all taken to Jifas. You would just say, hey. You would say, this one needs to go to Jifas.
So he made corruption busting seem like, and then he gave the guy power, ultimate power, thinking he's fighting corruption, but this guy is just amassing his own protection and earning big, like he had like an unfunded mandate, didn't he? No one knew what his budget was.
No one knew what his budget was. My goodness. And even the current mayor is assisting him to do what he's doing.
I believe he's dating the mayor. Well, these are news that are out there.
No, he gave her security while she was no longer MMC.
Oh, he gave her security.
Yes.
I hear.
Like, I'm an MMC. I now have to get into an Uber, or I must wait for the guy with my car to come and pick me up. No, she had no such. She was still driven like an MMC with a car in front and a car at the back.
What? My goodness. And then here they have the nerve to talk about corruption. Exactly. And spending money recklessly. Exactly. But they did it within.
And here they are still, they are fired, or they have terminated the 130. And whilst they are still paying for the 130, they still have others that is in their offices. So who's corrupt?
So they put people without proper adverts to occupy the jobs that the 130 are supposed to be. The 130 are getting paid and paid out.
And their guys are getting paid.
And those guys are getting paid. But they are complaining about a salary bill that is high. It's so crazy.
And there's no salary bill that's high, because if you look at what they wanted us to adopt in the council, the opposition, they wanted us to adopt it last week. And it speaks about the opposition policy. It speaks about the top 3 in the office are political, and then the junior ones are permanent. The top 3 needs to be fixed term, and the others need to be permanent. We did nothing wrong.
So the same thing that they are crying over, they are going to implement?
No, they want us to change it.
Okay.
Because they first said there was no policy. And they said what we did was wrong. What we did was not wrong. We went according to the policy.
Yes.
And they asked us for an interim an interim adjustment to a policy that's in review. So I was like saying, the heading is confusing. How do you do an interim adjustment to something that's in review? Shouldn't the review happen? So now you're going to make a change, and then if the review doesn't say the same, then
you change it.
So
doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Mama Margaret, I mean, I think I can talk to you for days because, as we talk, you say you drop bombs and then I wanna leave it and then come back and pick it up later. But I know we're gonna take 2 hours and longer. I really appreciated your honesty, and I think I really admire you. I always have, and I think that you are a true public representative, somebody who's committed. I've seen it on and off camera. It's not like it's a stage you're putting up. On and off the camera, whether you're the MMC or not, whether you have a position there or not, yours is true to the calling of serving and servanthood. And I appreciate you for that, and keep up the good work, because I know that for most people, and I always look at council and the things you raise and others raise in council, that for most people, it just sounds so foreign because you don't understand the concept of council, the concept of a 76 billion rand city, the entities and the boards. It's just the city's a complicated business. So every time you guys speak about these things that are going wrong, people don't understand what a big mission it actually is. And continue shining the light, And I saw how you guys stood up for the 130. I really appreciate you and the minority parties for standing up, because people are going to lose their houses, they're going to lose their cars.
Take their children out of the schools where they have placed them now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things. They've lost their medical aid,
pension fund, everything. It's like you're starting all over.
But you see, for me, it's about the reality. I always said I'll never move from where I am, out of Elders. I'll live here until I die. For me, it's all about the reality and dealing with the reality. I found it difficult when my staff in my office used to write speeches for me with words that the ordinary person on the ground does not resonate with. I want to always speak so that my constituency understands me. And who's my constituency is the people in Elders, people in Slovo, the people in Freedom Park, where I go and I search for a child, where I go and speak to a child that's on drugs, where I do those things. Those are the people that I need to impress. I don't need to impress the Patrice Matsepis. I don't need to impress those people up there. I need to impress these people down here, and these are the people that will vote for me. And that is to me. And if I can save a child in Elders, if I can find a missing child that went missing from here and stop a bus that's on its way to Durban, where there's a child in that bus, and drive as far as Pietermaritzburg to go and get that child, that gives me joy. That gives me joy to find a missing child. What gives me joy is if I can pull Elders right. My kids grow up here. I have a granddaughter that's 19 years old now, that went on drugs when she was 14 years old, that became HIV positive because of the drugs and of the date raping. That is what I am here for. I need to go to someone and give them a positive story of what has happened. I can't go and speak to a woman that's being abused, to someone that was raped and said, "Oh, my darling, I understand what you're feeling." I don't. But being a victim of all these things is what has driven me further and said to me, if I can become, and I have become who I am. I've been a chairperson, I've been a councillor, I've been an MMC. I want to go further. Why does it stop the little girl that was raped by her dad or raped by whoever? It doesn't stop her. It doesn't make her to be this useless person. Because remember, they tell you, you filthy, you useless, you called to be raped. How do you rape a woman that's walking with her 2 kids from point A to point B to get home, and you call her, she's the filth, she's the scum of the earth? She's not. She was taking care of her kids. At that time, all I could do was to say, you can do whatever you want to me, but please don't do anything to my kids. And I had to get up, and I had to get up and go back to work tomorrow morning and go and work for my kids. So that is to me, Sipho, that is to me what an activist should be, what a politician should be all about. You should be able to resonate with the people where you live. You should be able to say, I know. From living in a shack, from putting buckets, and from knowing that if it has rained tonight, we must take all the bedding out tomorrow and hang it up. I've been there. I've been there. So I don't need to have a double story. I just need to have a home. I just need to eat. I just need to dress. I just need to be me and not be abused by anybody. That's all I need, and that is what I want for everybody in El Dorado Park and elsewhere in the city of Johannesburg.
That's powerful. Powerful. You just want the simple things. And that's what's so extraordinary about you, because, and what people don't understand, that there are politicians and leaders like you who don't want the flashy things, who don't want the corruption, who don't want to be associated with corruption or be associated with all these negative things, who just really want safety for women, for children, safe space for everyone. I mean, that's just noble. So, Ma, it's been amazing to talk to you. I would like to have you once again. I mean, I think there's still days to come. There's budget. There's still gonna be fireworks in council. There's still a vote of no confidence. On who? On the speaker as well as the mayor, or just the speaker?
It will come on the speaker first.
Okay.
And then we remove everybody else.
And it's coming. That day is coming.
We just want the ANC conference to go past. There are some people that's on that side that's going to buy into us, and we will then deal with the city and bring it back to its same glory, and let Comrade Jeff, Comrade Jolie, and Comrade Moirani know that we are still doing what they taught us to do, to make the lives of people easier and allow them to live the life that they're supposed to live.
Ma, let's end it there. I think you've said a mouthful. It's been an amazing, amazing discussion with our first politician on the show, our first councillor on the show, former MMC, former chairperson of EISD, Margaret Arnolds. Thank you so much for watching, and please make sure that you like the show, you subscribe to the show, you share the show, tell everybody about the show, and big ups and thank you to all our sponsors, Anti-Clockwise Group, Mr. President Cars, Moraling Foods, Moraling Soulful, and thank you very much to everybody for watching. Big ups to you, Seed. Good job. I'll see you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Ma.
Thank you very much. It was nice.
Thank you.